So in 5, 4, 3. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Biz Talk, the show, the place where we try to bring you experts and entrepreneurs, people down in the dirt with us, or people who have experienced success and are here to educate and explore and teach you folks. My name is Eric, and I am with Shatiera Porte'e.
Yes, excellent.
I got it, right? I didn't butcher that. And Shatiera has a brand, a business called Counselor on Wheels.
Yes.
Which, brings to mind when you think about that, you're like, okay, what does that mean? Because that's a broad statement. That's pretty broad. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and sort of how you got into it?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Shatiera Porte'e, School Counselors on Wheels. It's an education consulting company where I travel all over the world to do mentoring and programs. I always say that I take students K to college, and we work with them with self-love, self-confidence, leadership, and I prepare them also for college career readiness. I have a background in mental health, 20 years, education, a little over 11 years. And how I got into my business is I was tired of education. I was working in education, COVID happened, I was having some difficulties with my son adjusting, and I just got burnt out. And I said, I'm gonna walk away. I did.
How long were you in?
At that time, I would say probably maybe almost 9 years, where I was consistently, I started out as a high school counselor. I went to a coordinator, directors of student services and curriculum, and I said, okay, this is it. I felt like I was always fighting for the voice of the youth, for the students, and I was tired, I was exhausted, and I said, you know what, I don't have to do this anymore. Didn't have a plan, was literally saying I'm gonna take some time off, focus on myself, my mental health, and a month in, one of my friends, we were talking, and I said, I still miss and I love education, and I really truly believe the power of the student's voice. And I said, okay, I'm going to start my business. I don't have to be in one district, one town, one school system. I love to travel. That's one of the two top things. I'm a foodie and I love to travel. And I'm going to just do this all over the world. So I said, okay, I'm a school counselor, certified. And I said, I'm just going to be on wheels. I'm going to go to different parts of the country.
So that's really interesting because like as a I guess what is that? Are you hired by the schools? Are you contracted? Like this is are you bidding a contract? Like this, where's this space?
So when I first started as the counselor, I'm hired by a school district.
Okay.
So I have to apply. School application, resume, provide my education, certifications, and then you work for that district you're hired for. And now that I'm a small business, it's very broad. So I'm a vendor, I'm a subcontracting. So currently I just finished a contract with a business in New York, and they have a contract with the Department of Education in New York, but they subcontract me based upon my expertise and skills.
Gotcha.
And I go in, so I went into a high school in Queens and provided the services for my company.
Right.
So it just depends on what the contract is. I submit proposals, different things, but it can vary now and opens a door for me as a small business owner.
So, but now let me ask you this, are you bidding those contracts? Like,
No. Currently,
so it's
no.
more like, okay. So because you're already working with as a subcontractor.
Yes.
Okay, so that's that work around the fighting that bid, which is fantastic because it's in a lot of cases, sometimes it's a better in for people.
Yes. And I think that's the way I wanted to, even though actually I went to a conference, a New Jersey Women Business Conference. I met someone there. We worked together and I told her my interest of going into it. And we talked about what you're saying. And I said, well, let me kind of like get my feet wet a little bit and try it that way. So that's what I decided to do.
Okay. So let's talk about, I mean, it sounds to me like you went from this job, which you were trained in, you had a career, you hit the burnout mode, or you hit the tired mode, or you hit the bureaucratic
Yes, all of that.
wall. That was it. Here's the bureaucracy wall.
Yes.
Right? And we know that the private sector tends to get more done than the public sector simply because we get to operate in the areas they can. Right? And so this is why they hire a lot of us, right? Aside from the fact that they have to.
Right. And they need us.
They need us. So where does that really, like, what is an obstacle you ended up facing? Ooh. Because you took you're talking about a month after you were going to give yourself some downtime. You're literally ramping.
Right.
So we know you hit some obstacles.
Right.
So talk to me about an obstacle you hit and how you maybe overcame it.
I would say so much. Financial, definitely, because I wasn't saving or planning. I probably would say I had little under a year of savings, but I wasn't saving for that. So after a certain while, you're looking like, okay, what's coming in? You know, and I'm a mom, so I'm like, okay, how am I going to take care of me, my son? I think also, too, then you have to look at who's going to hire you. And if you're not working for them in their district specifically, like applying to that, it's kind of like, okay, we might have this already. So that was another thing. I think just, believing in yourself, right? Knowing that you do have something that someone needs and saying, okay, I got this and I need the world to see this and there's a need for this. So my obstacle, I had to create this method I used called, selling your secret sauce. And I had to really tap into, like, I have something. I have diverse, I have mental health, I have social, emotional learning. I have a great variety of expertise that I can package up and then use that to be able to go out in the community and be able to help.
Yeah.
So I think I needed mentorship. I needed support.
Did you find mentorship?
I did. So it's hard, but initially I found it and I started building community. So I started being in programs. Like I was in the Goldman Sachs Women in Black Women Business. I just got out of another program where it's called New Jersey Black Women's Collective. So I started looking into education, mental health, and then just places that wanted to see small business owners succeed. Sure. And I started looking at that. And then when you get in those rooms, making sure to say, I need help or I'm looking for this. And that's one of the things my friends joke with me and say, you know what, you don't have to worry about Shatiera. She has a great follow-up game. She's going to follow up with you. She's going to reach out to you and connect with you. And I have this itch for just learning. So mentorship, still working on making sure you find places and spaces, for financial support. And I think just that professional development.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you the question you're not supposed to talk about, right? So the next question is, what kind of bullshit did you run up against? And you're like, this is just, this is just bullshit.
I feel like people that said, sure, I want you and I'll help you. So for example, I spoke at a conference last summer. And someone came, right after I got off the stage, someone came up to me and they said, I need you to want to work with you. I need to work with you. I said, okay. We exchanged your phone number, call me. And then it was like, they go ghost.
Yeah, the ghost. Right.
The ghost call, the ghost answer, the ghost response. I think, what else I would say? It's usually that. I think also, too, we don't have the money. Yeah, we don't have the money. And that you're in an organization or a district or a company or a business that has the money, and then you do all the talking, and for some reason, if you're not giving it for free, it's kind of like, and then you're in this sense where you're kind of saying, okay, how do I pitch myself? How do I put myself out there? But I think that's a lot of it, or just coming in. Like I had a conversation yesterday and they said, oh, okay, if you're not a nonprofit or, if you're not willing to give your time in this, and I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that, but after certain times, there's things that you can service yourself and put yourself to receive. And I think it's that, it's kind of like, that running around circle. So I always strategically scout and pay attention to the conversation now, because I think I want to work with you or call me sometimes it's been common, like hi or bye now. So you got to really say, okay, do they mean it? And then you follow up.
Yeah, right. It's key. Well, that's key, right? It's follow-up is key, because that's when you call people out on their game, right?
Yes.
If you follow up with them, and that's a big problem, small business owners, no matter where they are in the industry, they do have a problem with follow-up, and they fail to do so often. And that's a big problem, because a lot of them shoot themselves in the foot, and it's not always because they're broke, because they didn't mean it. Sometimes it's because they don't have good time management, they're too busy, or they're understaffed. So we get all that.
Too,
but we weed those ones out where everybody's just talking a good game.
Right.
We call those guys out. But I think that's and it's a real question, because businesses. I think one of the things we do too is like we go into our business networking. It's positive chatter. You are an extremely positive person.
Yes, everyone says that said to me, like literally everyone says to me, and they also say after, Eric, like, are you this way all the time? And I'm like, I am. Like, I'm always this, but I wasn't always like that.
But it's still, even with all that positivity, I do the same thing. Like, I look at things happened at an event today, and I'm like, it's a blessing in disguise. It's a blessing in disguise, right? And that's how I do it. And then I look for the follow-up, and how do I make it work for me, right? I'm always looking for that. But the reality is that we do deal with that BS.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
and we don't talk about it.
Right.
We don't talk about it. And then other businesses think everything is a perfect world.
Yes.
Oh, why do they never have the problems?
Yes,
why do they never face the bull?
Yes.
You know what I mean? The reality is we do.
Yes, we do.
We do.
And I would say, too, I have to make sure I say this. I did not have background in business.
Okay.
In my graduate program, I went to Monmouth University. I got a counseling background. I remember one of my last classes, the professor talked about open up your private practice and open a business. Immediately when I heard the words leave out her mouth, I was like, that's not me. Because I was scared. I was shy. I didn't think that I could do that. So I have to say, I made sure I avoided
Oh, wow.
that. And then several years later,
Look where you are.
right, almost 20 years later, like, I'm like, okay, look where I am now. And I think that's another reason too. You see what people are doing, and I have to be honest with you. I compared myself to someone that's been in business 15 years, thinking I was supposed to be making the same amount, doing the same things, and not realizing like that's not where you are, Shatiera. Like, you have these big dreams, and then if I didn't make those marks, I wasn't good enough. So I had to. I still have to check myself a little bit. I'm doing much better, but in the beginning, you get this sense of, I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to give up. I'm not going to finish this, because I felt like if I'm not here in this bracket, or I didn't have these many contracts this year, and then it'll be 3 years in July, and I'm like, shit, you survived.
Yeah,
like, you really survived. Like, give yourself a clap. That's a win. And I'm proud of that. So I think also dealing with yourself and thinking about where you're supposed to be, and if, not putting the stress on it, but definitely, like I said, not having the background, still figuring it out. That was a big thing for me too.
So here's another quick question, and I want you to give me the real
okay.
answer. So a lot of times small businesses start up, and what happens is we're in survival mode.
Yes, I was.
Are you still in survival mode, or what makes you pass survival mode?
I feel like I am coming out of survival mode.
So what's the benchmark for that?
Ooh.
Like, what makes you feel like, hey, I'm not in this survival space anymore. I'm sustaining now, or I'm evolving.
Great question.
What's that trigger in your mind?
So for me, I would say what helps me know that I'm not in survival mode, and I'm not using that to base if I stay open or complete my business, is I'm not physically, mentally, every day checking every day to see if I am doing this in order to stay open. So that's I think great. It's that. So the more flexibility I allow myself, the more confidence I have in my business, the more getting out there, I think it's different, and allowing me to, one of the things that we say is kind of like flow like water. You let things you move with water, move
Bruce
like water.
Lee. Bruce Lee said that.
Move like water. So I feel like it's that, but versus when I was just like, literally, you're checking things every day. On Monday, I didn't do this, or I didn't do this. And you still pay attention to those things, but I'm not using that as immediately, if I don't, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be in business, or I need to close down.
You're not questioning yourself.
Right, I'm not questioning myself.
Yeah, and that's important, because I think sometimes one of the things I find small businesses do is they become the slave to their clients.
Yes.
And it's because they're in survival mode.
Right. I almost got to that point, though. Yeah. I think when I started, and I was just saying this to one of my friends, that don't change what you're doing or what you have because you initially don't have that on the table. Right. And then you start seeing yourself change for every client. Yeah. And giving them what you want, you're going to see how it shows up and how you produce and your productivity, and you're going to then get lost, and you're going to forget about your mission, your vision, and what you're doing. So I think I had to make sure when I started feeling unhappy or felt like burnt out, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really doing this much, but why is that? Because I was changing what I said I was going to do for what they wanted me to come do. And I think it's kind of like, just know what you're doing, stay true to that, and do that. And if it's not, it may not be your client, So I think I had to make sure I stayed in that zone so I wasn't becoming that.
Yeah, because that's a rough one.
Right,
a lot of businesses get sucked in.
Right.
Suddenly the client's 2:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday. You're sitting on the beach and like, blah, 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 blah. But we teach them.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
the
we
problem.
do.
We teach
yes.
them to
oh my
treat us
goodness.
like
I love
that.
that you said that. Love that you said that.
You
we
know,
do
like,
teach them.
you know, I started about I had rolled back black ink because we started this brand
Okay.
a few years back. So we rolled it back and dialed it back because it was too much. I can't run this brand full time and
Yes.
then run that. Right? It was too much. And then while I was there, I started to teach myself and understand looking back, because now I wasn't in the mix of all this work for black ink. I wasn't like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I was able to step back and go, hey, we hire our clients.
Right.
We get to choose who our clients
Right.
are.
Wow, yes.
And when I flipped on that mindset, it was easy to dial back black ink because I wasn't stressing about it anymore, and so I could build this new brand.
Right, right.
And now bring black ink back online, etc.
Yep.
But I want to thank you for being here. I
Yes,
don't want to have the last
yes,
word.
yes.
But I thank you for being with me.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Where can they find you on the web?
Yes, schoolcounselorsonwheels.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, and I also have a book, I Forgive Myself for Forgetting Myself, on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and Books A Million. Thank you,
All right,
guys.
we're going to put that link in the,
Yes.
I'll get that link from you. We'll put that in the description for the book and link to the website as
Yes.
well. And so, as all entrepreneurs are supposed to do, we make stuff happen. So I need you guys to go out there and go make shit happen.
Yes, period.
We out.
Okay.
Okay, we're done.
Perfect, yep.
Done. That was it.
You're so good with
We're
time.
gonna go close it.
Okay.